In the absence of Nick Percuda, the vice chair will run the meeting today. We will have the Pledge of Allegiance. And Seth, you want to lead us?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Roll call.
Chief Rod Malott. Chief Shane Mull.
Here, present.
Captain Jay Christian.
Here.
Chair Nick Bercuda.
Absent.
Vice Chair Michael Greenwald.
Here.
Mark Roden.
Absent.
Tom Hazelton.
Here.
And Seth Neary.
Present.
All right. This is not on the agenda, but I would like to give the opportunity to our new members to introduce themselves.
Hi. Tom Hazelton, lived here in San Clemente for about 38 years. Retired LA County Fire Chief, and glad to be here and see what I can do.
Great. Well, we're glad to have you. Seth?
Hello, everybody. My name is Seth Neary. I've been here in San Clemente for now 4.5 years now. I've been in law enforcement for about 25 years. I'm still currently active in the Oakland Police Department. I'm looking at retirement this coming September. I have 3 children, one 24, one 21, and 14, and happy to be here and help out this community.
Well, we welcome both of you. We have no special orders or presentations, correct? I think we're going to put off the approval of minutes until the next meeting because only one of us was here for the meeting. Is that okay? Adam?
If the other members heard the meeting, they can vote on it.
One did,
If they did not listen to the recording of the last meeting, then yeah, postpone it.
well, he was here for the last meeting in the audience, but that just makes 2 of us.
You were here, Seth?
I was not. This is my first day.
Okay.
Unless Seth listened to the meeting on the recording after the.
I did not. I'm sorry.
Okay, so we just table it till next meeting? Good deal. All right, oral and written communication. Do we have any?
Yes, we
I think
do.
we have one public speaker, correct?
Yes. Frank, you want to come up?
Yep.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Frank Gambino. I live in the Pure Bowl area in San Clemente. Been here, I think, in San Clemente for about 15 years, maybe a little longer. In Orange County my whole life. So in fact, my dad was a mayor of Brea at one point, so I'm very familiar with city services. My concern has been kind of the traffic and the issues that are in the Pure Bowl area, and they include parking. You know, I don't see any kind of parking enforcement. We used to have parking enforcement from the city because they used to have the symbol on there. I think it's part of the sheriff's that would come and mark cars. I've been told that we don't ticket the meters anymore. That's just what I was told by a council person. And so I happen to live across the street from a fire hydrant. People park there every day and go to the beach. I live right by the beach. People park in the red. They park through our driveways. People park on corners in the Pure Bowl area where you cannot even get around the corner because the streets are so narrow, and they park on the corner of the street. So I see those things and I go, okay, resources are tough. I've called the sheriff's non-911 line. And I've asked for the parking folks to come out. They sometimes send sheriffs. You can see the exasperation on the sheriff's faces when they have to go out there and deal with the parking situation. I just don't quite understand why we don't have more resources towards that when you can get a return on those resources. So that's one thing. The speeding, the noise that's going on in the Pier Bowl now, all the people that are there now from the new sand that's been placed on the beach, you probably have this, the beaches are twice as busy. So traffic, e-bikes, the wheelies with the e-bikes going through. I know that's all over the city and all over the Southern California. And then car camping would be the other piece of it. Probably every night somebody parks on Avenida Santa Barbara, where I live, and camps right across or next to my house. So I'm trying to understand, I understand that the police services, being a police officer, a sheriff, is a thankless job. And these days, nobody really wants to do that. But there seems to be, there's got to be some type of other opportunity to help provide resources to that community and offset those costs. So
Thank you.
that's about it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can I?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Any comment?
Are you gonna stick around for the whole meeting?
Yeah.
I'll connect with you afterwards.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. Sure.
Thanks, Chief. All right, carry on those performance measures. Were you guys able to take a look at these when they sent them out?
Didn't really understand all of it, but I did see it.
Well, we contract with an ambulance service, and we're supposed to have 2 ambulances here at all times. They're pretty good at that. Our biggest concern was response time and what they're really considering response time. And our contract doesn't really call for the response time. So we've asked the city to watch the contract the next time it comes up and be a little bit more proactive. Shane, do you have anything on, except the fact that I like to steal all their people for the paramedic program?
Yeah, I know. I don't have anything to speak to for their response time since they are their own contract. They have their own contract of reporting with the city, that per se. But that's really loud. I do know our crews are really happy with the service they get from the 2 ambulances. They do really keep 2 ambulances in the city. Even if one's going to the hospital, they bump down an ambulance from a surrounding area. So they do meet that piece of the contract really well. Their ambulance crews work in our fire stations and live in our fire stations. So we work with Falk Ambulance. We're actually today interviewing, because we keep hiring them as firefighters. We're interviewing a bunch of new candidates at Station 60. So that's been a great program for us because we keep stealing their people, but that means they have good people. So I couldn't speak to the numbers. I know they worked with Falk a lot to understand the numbers better. I think Nick did and stuff like that. So that's good. But from my perspective, yeah, the ambulance is doing a great job, and they definitely arrive on time and do a great job. So.
Seth, do you have anything? I know you have some notes there. So
No, I know that, I think Falk is probably, they're contracted throughout California, because I know where I work at, Falk is also one of the actual ambulance services. I don't know, like I said, the actual, what type of response in regards to, I know fire's got their own paramedic unit along with their ambulance also, so I don't know exactly, I'm still trying to understand exactly you guys' platform on how you guys respond to these type of medical calls. And
Yeah,
versus Falk and
Yeah, I can clear that up for you if you want. So in Orange County, there's no, well, that's not true. For OCFA, there's no firefighters from OCFA on the ambulances. Different cities, there's other cities that have 201 rights, meaning they can contract with their own ambulance service. Most cities in Orange County are using Falk, some are using Emergency and other companies. But essentially, when we're dispatched to a call, you'll get a fire engine or a truck with paramedics on it. And then the ambulance has 2 of their own staffed EMTs on it, always. Never a firefighter on either of them. Never a firefighter on an ambulance or an ambulance person on a fire engine. So that's why you get the whole, everybody always wonders why we have so much that shows up to somebody with a stomach, like an abdominal pain type of call. But it's an engine and an ambulance the paramedics treat the patient and work with the ambulance crew, and then the paramedic will get on the ambulance to go to the hospital. And then for San Clemente, the ambulance actually brings the paramedic back to the fire station, which is really nice, to meet back up with the crew, and it keeps the fire engine in service. They're down one person, but they're still a paramedic assessment unit, so they can at least start treating people. So that's how it works pretty much throughout Orange County. There's cities like Laguna Beach, Huntington Beach, who have their own ambulance programs. I think Newport Beach does as well, where firefighters are on there, and some just regular EMTs as well, but not in the OCFA. So for San Clemente, it's two separate entities working together and actually living in the firehouse together, just like any other firefighter. So it's good.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Tom, you have anything?
The times here look very reasonable to me.
Just use your microphone.
Seem pretty reasonable to me. Are they meeting the standard or what that was set forth for this area, for Orange County, for ambulance response times? Do we know what they asked them to do?
For the most part, yeah. The one thing that we're finding, and there's a countywide kind of study going on right now, is Falk has its own oversight, obviously. Fire service doesn't really have much oversight over that whatsoever. It's all through Orange County EMS. So they are working together along with Orange County EMS to try and look at what that looks like, because Falk, with each of their contracts, presents their numbers, and I think that was the question before, was how do they come to those, and I think that they met with Falk to understand it better. But from the fire service side, we don't really have a good feeling for what it looks like overall. We can tell you how quick a fire engine gets there in almost any city,
Right.
actually in any city. Ambulance companies, we can only go off what they report.
And that varies quite a bit depending on how close you are to the actual.
Exactly. And that's why San Clemente is really nice that the city contracts two ambulances to be here, because in some cities, if they don't have their own contract, ambulances are coming from other cities and other areas. So it works well in this city.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Chief.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to OCFA performance measures. Tom, did you get a chance to review these?
I did a little bit, yeah.
For some reason, I cannot open that in my PDF.
Okay.
If you want, I can just go through them a little bit. And
It's in my numbers, the yellow. Yeah, go ahead, Shane.
let me just kind of run through them. So this is the third quarter totals for 23-24. So obviously this covers about January through March. The new fourth quarter should be coming out real quickly here. Actually, I think my secretary almost had that done. So next meeting we'll have that. It'll look different. So as I go through, there's going to be some different looks because we have some things going on to meet NFPA standards for how we report. But anyhow, for the third quarter, call load was pretty much the same as the last quarter. The city's busy. Obviously, as we're coming into summer, it's definitely picking up. So this next fourth quarter and then the quarter after that's going to get busy. The next few are just inspections and things like that are performed. You see third quarter was 796, so it was a huge amount of inspections. That's because this year we went to a new inspection platform. It used to all be on paper, believe it or not. Still on paper. We moved to a program called Orion, so it's all digital now, which is, we're catching up to the new age type of thing. So we had to finish all the inspections. San Clemente pretty much has more inspections than any of the other cities, just with all the apartment buildings and businesses. And so this was a really busy quarter because we asked all the crews to get them all done within a month or two, which was a heavy ask, but they did it.
Normally you guys divide them up like a third and a third and a third each.
Yeah, and usually you have 6 months to do it. So they loved me when I said we had to get it done in 2 months, but they got out and got it done, which was really good. Plan checks was pretty much average and normal. So the one under efficiency for average response time. So for years, we've shown average response time as our kind of standard for how we present the numbers. The goal is always to meet 8 minutes and 30 seconds is our goal, and that's from time of the call coming into our dispatch center and then picking up the phone to the fire engine showing up at the house. So that's the goal. It always needs to be within 8 minutes and 30 seconds. That's what we aim for to achieve, and that's how we figure out our standards of coverage throughout the county. And so as it sits, obviously, so it shows average response times of 7 minutes and 15 seconds for San Clemente, which is good. That's pretty much what we've been averaging for the most part, quarter after quarter, between 7 minutes and 7:15 for the average. Next time I report out, it'll look a little different because we are going through a standards of coverage document and changing how we report our averages, and we're going off of more of a, they call it fractile percentage type of thing. But it more meets the NFPA standard. So our goal is to meet the 8.5 minutes mark 90% of the time. So we're gonna start reporting out on how often we're meeting that 8.5 minutes. Because you take an average, some of these calls, you could have a whole bunch of calls that take 4 minutes to get to, and a call that takes 15 minutes to get to. But somehow it'll still average out to a really good time of 7:15. As we're looking at the whole agency and where we need to increase services, showing the percentage that we're actually meeting the 8.5 minutes is going to show that a lot better. To show, okay, you know what? Yeah, we're averaging 7:15, but a lot of our calls are a lot longer, or there's a few calls that are a lot longer, which is really kind of unacceptable anyway. And it really just has to play into how busy the units are and where they're spread out and stuff like that. And so we want to report that better. So next time I come, it's going to look really different. So I'll bring like a normal report and then what the new one will look like for you, so that you can kind of see the two contrasting, and you'll still see what the average is, but we want to report a better number. Because we do have within the agency, we had an outside audit doing a standards of coverage document, looking at the whole county, trying to figure out where we need to increase paramedic service, truck companies, add fire engines, and we needed to go to this more NFPA type of standard because that's a standard across the nation as far as how you report response time. So we're moving towards that. We should have that document with the standards of coverage and what their findings are within the next month or two, which is going to be huge because then we can start implementing some changes within the department to increase services. That's the whole goal, is to figure out. We all know, anybody who's worked in the fire service, obviously Tom has, the holes and where you need more fire engines. But without data and specific things to prove it, asking people to pay money to do that is hard to do. So we're working towards that, and I'm excited to see that come around. But for the most part, in San Clemente, we do pretty good with response times. It gets real hard when, Engine 60s area in the south end of town is one of our busiest paramedic units probably in the agency, definitely in the city. When they're on calls, a lot of times we have to bring engines from other areas to backfill behind them because honestly, if they're gone for 20 minutes, there's probably 1 or 2 calls that'll pop up during that period of time. So we always have to backfill, but that takes time. So some of those responses in 60s area are longer than I would like to see. So that's where we're trying to meet that threshold and try and meet those things. So it'll be good to get that. But I did want to let you know that next time this will look different. And I'll try and explain it well when I do it.
Is Station 60 the one on Victoria?
Correct, yeah. And historically,
You guys are always running.
yeah, even when my dad worked there, it was pretty much the busiest fire station around. So it's
I
busy.
see them out my window coming out of Victoria.
Yeah.
Where they're going.
Very busy spot.
So Shane, when we're saying that 77% of the calls are within 8.5 minutes,
Right.
does that mean we have a lot of calls that are way over 7, or just we have a lot that are just way under 7?
Kind of both. So some will be quick. Obviously, at South End, they do get there pretty fast for a lot of their calls. But there are some that are definitely over. Like if we're only hitting 8 minutes and 30 seconds around 80% of the time, that's what we want to be at 90%. So that's where we're trying to get to, and where we need to change how we report out, because just showing that 7 minutes and 15 seconds looks really good, and stuff, but we want to give a better number, more because we want to figure out how we can do better. But yeah, that only 80% of the time do we hit the 8.5 minutes. So some of those calls, looking at them, some of them are 10 minutes, 10 or 10.5 minutes before we get a fire engine on scene, which is not ideal. It's just, usually it means 60s is on a different call, or 59s is on call, and we're coming from the other end of the city. So that's pretty much what that one shows there.
Thank you very much, Shane.
Yeah.
Tom, you have any?
Oh,
Seth?
Yeah, just one thing. So the 77%, is that majority medical calls or actual fire calls? I know it's going to be a higher percentage for medical calls for you guys.
Yeah, usually at least 80% are medical aid calls. The rest are fires and miscellaneous types of calls. And yeah, it's the same for all of them in all reality. You know, even if it's a fire call, you only get there as fast as you get there. But that's essentially why we really want to bring down these numbers. You know, medical aids, obviously you want to get there and get treatment going quick, but fires, you know, they'll double pretty quick. So it worked out good. San Clemente in the big scope of things is a really well covered city. I think I've talked about this in the past. Like when they designed where the fire stations went way back in the day, I think, you know, when my dad was here and early San Clemente Fire Department days, they actually put them in really good spots, even with how much it's built out. So it's really, really good locations. So we're just trying to look and see how we can increase that going forward. So
Thank you.
Thanks, Shane. All right, moving on. New business. Nomination and selection of Public Safety Committee Chair and Vice Chair. We're gonna table that until next meeting, when Mr. Bakuda and hopefully Mr. Roden are both here, and we can move that along. As far as consideration of establishing a new meeting schedule and location of meetings, I think that does our current schedule work for you?
It works for me. I won't be here at the next meeting because I'm be teaching at the fire academy,
Okay.
but that works fine for me.
Seth?
Yes, it works fine.
Good. I think we can just stick with it, right? Or do we have to vote on it at the next meeting?
If you don't take a vote, it would remain the same, but if you want to formalize that with a motion.
Okay, do you have a motion?
Motion.
Just say the motion to keep the meetings, times and.
Motion to keep the meetings the same.
Okay. A second?
Motion to keep the meeting the same day.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you. The consideration and development of a public safety public safety committee FY 24-25 work plan. You guys got a copy of our work plan, and we will discuss at the next meeting who's on what committees, if that's good with everybody. Natasha, does that cover everything? Tanya?
For new business, yes.
That cover that okay?
Yep.
All right. Our current public safety work plan, the people that are on the current programs, except for myself, the only thing that we can do right now is discuss neighborhood watch, which is moving well. We have a great partner in the sheriff's department making that happen. And there's no update on human trafficking. And those are the only two committees I can report on because they're the only two I'm on. So, is it okay to move on with that, Natanya?
Yeah.
Okay. So, reports from committee members and staff. Chief? Sure.
You looking at me?
Yeah. I'm looking at you. I'm sorry, you know the chief sitting next to you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Chief.
So we're already done with reports already, huh? That's good. We're moving right along here. Just report that for the month of June, I'll give you a couple of stats that I pulled up for today. We had 2,243 CAD incidents involving 811 offenses for the month, consisting of 527 reports. We made 99 arrests for the month and issued 310 citations. I know Mr. Rakuda is not here today, but he likes to know about residential burglaries. We had 2 residential burglaries in the month of June. One of them looks like a sophisticated burglary crew with a window smash. Unknown what the loss is at this time. The other one was actually a great case. It kind of coincides with his constant questioning about our flock cameras around town. There was a residential burglary where a homeowner left his garage open and his mountain bike was stolen. There was some video surveillance of a vehicle. The flock cameras gave us a lead on a license plate, which led to multiple casings and additional residential burglaries around town. Led to a suspect, led to some search warrants, and several people in custody.
Great.
So thanks to that flock camera system, it's absolutely amazing. As far as that, I just hit up, in case it comes up, Neighborhood Watch, I talked to Ryan Case. They didn't have any meetings last month. However, he did a couple of home assessments. He had some information from Irvine PD about an organized retail theft crew that had some San Clemente addresses in their phones. So He also made contact with those residents and did a walkthrough of their street. And so he's got 2 more neighborhood watch meetings on the books as a result of that.
Great.
And he's got 2 additional block captains in neighborhoods around town, and 2 meetings on the books for this next month.
Love that
Yeah, and that's my report.
guy. Thank you, Chief.
Sure.
All right, fire services.
All right, you heard some of my stuff already. I'll just go through a few things for us. So we've been really busy supporting a lot of fires throughout the state. Actually, over the last few weeks, fire season has hit pretty early. It's kind of year round, but it's definitely hit early north of us. So we've sent out a bunch of strike teams. Both of our hand crews have been out. We've had helicopters out working those fires. We've had just multiple resources and overhead out there at the fires throughout the state. So that's been really good. Getting our crews a lot of sets and reps before the fire season kind of hits down here. We have had a few small fires here in Orange County actually already. Anaheim, Costa Mesa had a little one. We've had a little tiny one right here in San Clemente. It was held real small. Dana Point actually had one down in the harbor on the 5th of July from a firework. Another one in San Juan area from a firework. So it's been busy even down here, but fortunately everything's still pretty moist down here, so nothing's really taken hold and really got going, and we haven't had any winds, so that's good. We did have a chain of fires in San Juan over the last few months that looked to be pretty suspicious in nature. Ended up working with the sheriff's department and our investigations team and made an arrest of a suspect actually last week, which was really big because we had something like 25 fires intentionally set in San Juan over a period of time. That they were able to link this person to at least 10 of them so far, so probably much more. So really, really happy to report that we were able to work with the sheriffs. It was a really good joint effort in making that arrest. Coming into fire season, we just, at our last board meeting, we have a new wildland resource center that's coming to South Orange County. It's going to be out in Rancho Mission Viejo, so just up the road from us, La Pata and Ortega. It's actually off Cow Camp Road, kind of that area right there. So really close where we're going to house and stage all of our hand crews, both the hand crews that we have, as well as all of our heavy equipment, our dozers and everything like that. As it sits right now, our hand crew sits out in Tribuco Canyon at Station 18, and they've already way outgrown that area. And so they're out there, and then our heavy equipment, dozers, things like that are kind of scattered throughout the agency. So this will be nice. It'll be one central spot. But for us here in San Clemente too, it's actually really nice because they'll just come right up and over the hill, and they're here to support us. So that's a big thing that hopefully it's going to take probably 1.5 to 2 years to get it built, but it's going to be a beautiful facility. So that's exciting. We just took delivery of our 2 new Firehawk helicopters. So I think I've been talking about this one for a little bit. I was in the Air Ops program before getting promoted into this spot, and that's when we made the purchase of these 2 helicopters, and they just arrived. So that's big. Our crews are training on them right now, but essentially our old Bell 412 helicopters could drop 300-ish gallons on a fire on any drop. These can drop 1,000 gallons, so much more powerful, much safer, dual engine, which is nice, for safety, redundancy. If anything goes wrong, you want to make sure there's a second engine at least gets you on the ground, so that's really helpful. And so those will be in service this fire season. You probably have already seen them. They're out training pretty much every day in the hills around here. They're beautiful Black Hawk helicopters that get converted into a fire helicopter. So we're really excited about those. And I already talked about the standards of coverage, but that's kind of the big stuff going on with us, just ramping up for fire season.
Where are the Black Hawks stationed at? Or are they going to be in different places or the same place? Or
They, our Air Ops program is out of Fullerton Airport.
okay,
So flight time from there to here is 12 minutes. So they get up and out pretty quick. But on like red flag days, we like to stage one of the helicopters in different. Usually we'll keep one up there and one South County. Sometimes we've even sat it right next to Station 59, that dirt lot. I don't know that we'll do that with the Blackhawks, obviously, because their neighbors probably won't be super happy about the amount of dust when they do land. But that's part of one of the goals of that Wildland Resource Center is to have a pad right there, because we'll stage one of the helicopters there too, so we can kind of hit anywhere. So, but for the most part, they come out of Fullerton.
okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, Chief. Rod's not here today, so committee chair, My two comments are, Adam, how do we request a crosswalk? Mark had brought up that when you're going south on El Camino Real, when you go under the freeway, there and you've got Happy J's and the Chevron station, there's not another crosswalk for like a mile and a half down to where La Ventura and Pedro's is. And we'd like to research putting at least one crosswalk somewhere in the middle of that, because we have a lot of residential properties up there, and they're probably just running across PCH. We'd like to see who we need to talk to research a crosswalk.
That would be the Public Works Department, and specifically the Transportation Engineering Division. Natanya can send some contact info to the committee members to reach out to them directly. Crosswalks, without substantial evidence that there is a public safety impact, would not be the purview of the committee, but as just a general request as members of the public or as a committee as a whole, depending on what documentation the city might have as far as accidents and things of that nature, it could elevate to something more. But to start that initial communication,
Right.
just reach out to the public.
And in time, if you'd send that to me, I'd appreciate it, and send a copy to Mark. Secondly, do we have somebody in the city that liaisons with Caltrans on different issues? Because we have 5 or 6 palm trees that are in between the freeway, going west to where the Volare Hotel is, and these haven't been taken care of, and they are surrounded by ivy. And in my previous, before I went to condo living, I know that ivy around trees is not a good idea because it chokes them. And these haven't been trimmed in a long time. If somebody goes off that freeway, they're gonna light the hotel on fire. So I'd like to see if we couldn't reach out to somebody in Caltrans to see if they could trim those trees. And I think there's some farther north too, off of Palizada. But these are probably 50 yards north of Presidio, in between the freeway and the Volare Hotel. Who would I talk to?
Caltrans. Contact Caltrans.
I can send a link for how to submit the service requests to them. That's the best that we have to internally.
Okay. I think it would be, might get a little bit more recognition if it comes from the city than.
Actually, less.
Really?
It does not, yeah.
Okay. All right. I will do it myself. Good deal. That's all I have. Tom, do you have anything?
No, all right, now it's gonna take me a little while to get my feet on the ground here.
Seth?
I do not.
Well, I want to welcome both of you.
Thank you.
We're really glad to have you.
Thank you.
Okay, you can't sit in the back anymore.
I know. It's like city hops, like in the back, right? Watch the scenery first.
I said, no, the longer you've been on the department, the farther back you sit in roll call, so.
They go to restaurants in the back.
Danielle?
The only thing that I wanted to report is just how successful the 4th of July was, that it was the park rangers' kind of public-wide debut, and I heard nothing but wonderful things. They worked with our law enforcement partners. It was the first ever water slide, and it was amazing. Everyone was compliant, and there were no incidents to report, so.
I see the Rangers all the time now, and I just, they're always going, they're never sitting. The program's working well.
Great, that's all I have, thanks.
Do you mind if I live right down the street from there.
It was one of the most peaceful 4th of Julys in a long, long time. It really was.
We have great people here.
Yeah. It was,
Adam,
it was great.
anything?
Nothing for this meeting, but I'll have some updates on some disaster preparedness stuff coming up. So.
Good deal. Tanya?
Yes, sir.
All right. Our next regular meeting will be scheduled for Tuesday, August 27th at 3 p.m. here in City Hall Council Chambers. And we hope to see you all here. And do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded by Seth. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone.